Welcome back. Almost said good morning. It is morning where I am. Just had a little bit of time to try and get a training game in. I know it's been a little while since I've been able to upload one. So let's see if we can get started here. I'm set to a faster time control than I want. So there we go. Heineken 77. Okay. Alekhines. I really do enjoy playing Alekhines. I've stubbornly been trying to go away from it, but it's just fun. I enjoy the theory. I enjoy the positions. I end up with this silly knight over here on b6, but it isn't the end of the world. There's some differences here. I'm kind of got this dragon type setup, Sicilian. I'm missing my c pawn, but black is missing, or white is missing an e pawn instead of a d pawn. So some minor differences in this structure. I plan to fianchetto that on the previous move, so I don't see any reason not to continue with that. This bishop does provide some, or the knight provides some pressure on this c4 pawn, so frequent idea is to exchange off this knight for my light square bishop after white develops his bishop here. He sometimes, in some positions, can't really afford to move his bishop off the protection of this. We'll frequently see this b3 push to provide support. And those are all kind of white's ideas right now. He's also probably going to develop this bishop to e3 to add extra support to the d pawn. So my choices here are to castle or to continue developing another piece. And I think I want to continue fighting in the center. There's no immediate threat on my king because this knight does a great job of keeping it out. The bishop doesn't have access either. So just development. Just get another piece out. I don't need to rush castling. Where is Heineken 77 from? Argentina. I can't read Spanish, so I don't know what that says, but we have not played before. Kind of rattled off most of his opening moves pretty quickly, so evidently he's faced Alekhines enough to have a system. Okay, so he's keeping my bishop out. So these ideas are dead, at least for now. I have this idea kind of hacking with two knights, but this b3 idea just stops that in its tracks and makes this like these two knights both very silly and useless over here. The only way that would be useful is if he's already opened this up to give my bishop access, and then the b3 push would not be possible because the knight would hang, or the rook potentially. So this idea exists if he pushes d5. So he's taken away my bishop square. My other square is on f5, eyeing up the c2 square. Here, I think castling. Yeah, I think now it's time to castle. Need to commit my bishop just yet. although that's probably its destination. If I'd have done it before I castled, White has this idea of g4. He hasn't castled yet, so he's not committed. He's not pushing pawns in front of his king. That's an idea that happens fairly frequently now. Uh, Thinking about an e5 push, I'm also thinking about my bishop development. So if I push e5 and he pushes d5, I see I can't come here because there's 3 attackers and only 2 defenders. So my choice is here, here, or here, or here. So I think, I mean, retreating the knight seems silly. Don't want to do that. Advancing the knight seems much more active and will probably be my best choice. But I think I want to go ahead and develop the bishop first. Even though he hasn't castled yet, it does allow him to start this little pawn storm over here. And I will be forced to move my bishop again. And I would have to retreat it. And I haven't really gained much for that. So as much as I want to do that, maybe just developing it here immediately is an option. Developing to d7. And we'll spend a little more time calculating e5. If e5, if takes, everything is great. We're looking at queens, everything's protected. It's an equal game. And I think the more critical option is to push d5, and I don't have this square because the pawn is occupying it. So that's why we recalculate. Pawn is occupying that square. I don't have this move. This move is kind of silly looking to have to, what's my plan for it? I could redevelop here and here, but I've already got one poorly placed knight. Have this square as an option too. e5, d5, knight d7. Don't really have any threats. Has this pin potential here. About queen c7 first. Kind of encourages rook c1. All of those are natural developing moves. This one allows him to gain space. I think if he's gonna be provoked, then I do think at least maybe he'll make some weaknesses on the king side that I can look at later. I'll waste a tempo. This may be the wrong choice, but I'm okay with that. I always have this retreat unless I block it, and then I'm in trouble. I can't occupy this square because that invites this and this and this, and I have lost a bishop. So square's got to stay open. Took a long time on that move. 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. My opponent still has 13, just under 14 minutes. Castles without whole lot of thought. He spent a minute on it. Okay, so I'm not really worried about this idea anymore. If he's going to do that, he's going to weaken his king pretty severely. Now I have ideas of rook c8. I still have ideas of e5. If I go e5 and he goes d5 and I go rook or knight to a5, I've got a double attack on this pawn, and he has pushed d5, but my e pawn's in the way. If he protects the c pawn with b3, I have a push e4, and this hangs, and this is attacked. So now may be the time to go here. Knight a5, b. Oh wait. I've got it. No, this push first. This push starts it all off. I think I'm going down this road now, and I'll spend some time calculating in a second, because I don't want to waste too much more time. Another minute 40 off my clock. Okay, that was expected. Now this move, if this, that may run into this. And I don't see how he defends both. He can swap this off. That he forgot my knight was here. My poorly placed b6 knight. No, I'm sorry, Heineken. I know that you blundered, but you have so much time on your clock that you should have spent a little more time. I'm going to decline your draw offer. Blunders in time pressure, I mean, I'd be a little more forgiving, but you've got 13 minutes on your clock. Well, that was a very fast game. Let's take a look at the game review. And White had a slight edge until he didn't. Book line. Okay. It questions my knight development first. It probably wants me to castle first, because the computer is snobby like that. My guess is it wants me to castle as a castling is still a book line here. It's considered a book move. What's the best move? Oh, okay. The best move is the bishop development. I know I've played that before, and it does have the idea of swapping off bishop for knight. If the bishop takes, this pawn is undefended, but the bishop eyes this weak square here, so I don't have time to take immediately. I've got to develop my knight anyway. But takes, knight development. I have two attackers here, one attacker here on an undefended piece. See, take the knight, takes back, still has this, which can be defended, but I have a nice strong center. I have 3 pawns versus the 2 central pawns here. An open B file to work with. So that's pretty good. I do like that. I mean, it's probably why I've played it in the past. But he prevents that idea. I castled. It doesn't like his bishop development here. He probably should have castled immediately. It does like my bishop development, kind of. Thumbs up. Definitely get castle. This is a questionable move. Didn't like this move. So let's retry and see what the other ideas were here. I was toying with this, and I was thinking about a rook to c8. And of the two, I mean, this seems risky. The knight a5 move seems premature. So I'm going to go with rook c1 as my alternative move here. And it says that's an inaccuracy as well. So what is the best move? Compute. It wants me to push in the middle. It wants me to push d5, which makes sense. Gives up control of the square, but it does stop the d5 push for white, and it fixes this weakness on d5, on d4. If he takes, black's got an isolated queen's pawn that is fixed, and he's going to have a hard time. He's going to have a lot of pressure on that in the future. So that does make sense. I'll have to keep that in mind for the future. And that it really did not like. Did not like that move. Looks like I got fortunate with the blunder, which I frequently do in Alekhines. I got pretty fortunate with that, but what is white's idea here? He's up almost 2 points of material. I think this runs into, b3 runs into e4. e4 maybe like knight d4. And I think everything is held together there. He's attacking my bishop. This pawn is weak. This pawn is weak. So my idea, yeah, I think maybe he does just go b3 here. I've been positively reinforced with good results from this bad move over and over again, and that's why I consistently think of it. But that doesn't change the fact that it's a bad move pretty frequently. But when you get good results, it's hard to stop playing it. So I need you all to start punishing me for this move, so that I will stop making it. Because I'm pretty sure that white's best move is b3. It wanted me to go e4 immediately. What is white's best move here? Obviously, the queen move is a big blunder. Just retreating the knight. Okay, also an option to defend the pawn. What is the evaluation of this move? White's still got an edge, but not quite as much. And if black pushes e4, then black comes here, or white comes here, yeah. And it's a pretty strong piece right there. The rook's going to come over here to get out of the line of sight of the bishop. And black's got a tough task ahead of him. Oh, it does say that's the best move. And white's advantage is back up to almost 2 points. So, well, a request from an Alekhine player to the internet. Please, please, please start punishing knight a5. And I appreciate y'all watching. Come back and I'll keep uploading these as I can, if I can speak. And I'll see you next time.